We're absolutely honored now to have Deane Beman, the second commissioner of the PGA Tour, joining us right now. His accolades are just absolutely tremendous as both a player and as the commissioner of golf. He introduced the Players Championship concept during his tenure, the TPC, all of the courses. He converted the tour into a 501c6 organization. He introduced pension plans for tour players. He formed the senior PGA Tour, and the capping his legacy was introducing what is known today as the President's Cup. Deane Beman is also now a vital cog in developing new putters that are on the market, Cure Putters by Veritas Golf. Mr. Beman, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Delighted to be with you this morning, Keith. Thanks for your interest.
We, Steve Shaft and myself, we're consummate golf fans, know the game quite well, and we know such a lasting impact that you have made on the PGA Tour. When you were commissioner, Mr. Beman, what for you was the single most important achievement or piece of work that you thought was the biggest influence or made the biggest impact to where golf is today?
Tough question when you're talking about directly business, because it was such a period of growth. You mentioned the Senior Tour and Pension, 501c3, the TPCs, President's Cup. We developed the Players Championship, the Tour Championship. Put all the pieces together to create the World Golf Hall of Fame, the Web.com, the stats program, the scoreboards, all of those things, which combined together certainly produced the framework that underpins what the tour is today. But having said all that, from a dollars and cents and business standpoint, I think the thing that I'm probably most proud of is that we were able to take golf, which was a minor sport in the 70s. We certainly had major players. Harlan and Jack were certainly the most famous, but golf itself was a minor sport relative to the major sports on television: NFL, basketball, baseball, even hockey back then. So we were able to take golf from the position of being a minor sport with relatively little prize money for players, and create this the framework which you can see today that certainly inures to the benefit of the players, but certainly the tour just passed the $2 billion mark in charity, and I'm certainly want to recognize, and I'm pleased to talk about that and talk about the money side. But I think the thing we achieved the most, I believe, is that we're able to move golf into what I call the realm of big money sports, and not lose golf's core values in doing that. Golf still stands for the ultimate in sportsmanship in sports: respect for the rules, respect for the game you play, the rules of the game, respect for the official, and respect for your fellow competitors. And we have guarded that as diligently as we have attempted to pursue the dollars and provide the opportunity for communities to have the benefits of charities and our players to make a better living.
Mr. Beman, it's interesting, having been part of the growth of the game when television really had not brought a spotlight to the game of golf, and the process all of a sudden, as you guys started to be creative in exposing the enjoyment of professional tournament golf, you actually became the godfather of stadium golf when we were working with Pete Dye and began to create the Tournament Players Club, and other clubs using viewing corridors and making the experience, for the fans just a tremendous one. And, of course, people didn't realize this way back when, but the scoreboards weren't even something that were considered that much in the past. So, it's just kind of interesting how if you go back to that, how far we've come since those early days for you.
Well, it certainly has, and the enhancement, certainly, I always had the philosophy, if a tournament couldn't be successful locally, it couldn't be successful nationally, and if it wasn't successful nationally, then it wasn't worthy of being on television. So building, we had a strong, golf is a great game and strong public relations and things of that kind, but clearly building the structure underneath each individual tournament was a very important part of the success of where we are today.
Mr. Beman, because you had such a significant tournament playing experience as an amateur when you were younger, and then, of course, playing as a professional, having played in 14 Masters and such, winning a couple of U.S. amateurs and a British amateur, one of the things that Bill told me that you had talked about was how you're probably one of the first guys that ever began keeping statistics for your performance in order to figure out what your weaknesses are and such. And, of course, today on the PGA Tour, you can find out every little tiny detail of performance so these guys can really work on the things that they need to improve. How much of an impact did you have on having the PGA Tour begin to collect those statistics and make them available to the tour players?
Well, back up a minute. As I was just entering college, and I was a pretty successful young amateur player, and of course I played in the U.S. Open twice while I was in high school. But I started keeping my own statistics. They were certainly not as sophisticated as we have today. But, basically fairway hits and greens hit, and long irons, short iron, medium irons, pitch shots, bunker shots, putts, things of that kind, fairly rudimentary based on today. But what it did was it taught me how to analyze my game and analyze where I could spend my time that would produce the most results. And, of course, it was very important at the time. I was young, I was married, I had a child, I was going to school, and I was working. So time management was terribly important. And even if you've got all day long just to play golf, which I didn't, trying to keep every facet of your game at its optimal level is almost impossible. And clearly, when I started keeping my own stats and pinpointing the things that would contribute the most to the end of the day, the best score I could shoot, I believe was a major factor in me being able to reach the next level of competition.
Deane Beman, the second commissioner of the PGA Tour, joining us on Teeing Off with Keith Chartrand. Mr. Beman, in all the seriousness that comes with the game of golf and holding such a tenure for 20 years, there must have been a lighter side to it, either whether it was in the corporate boardroom or on the golf course. Can you share with us a funny story, whether it dealt with another player or whether it dealt with a serious meeting in the boardroom turned funny, or just an experience that our listeners might enjoy to see the lighter side of you or just the lighter side of golf?
Well, it was a pretty tough climb for 20 years when I was at the tour, but I remember one thing that turned out to be amusing. I'm not sure how funny it was, but certainly amusing, is that as we were putting all the elements together to create the first really significant television package where we were going to make, for the first time, some real money instead of just a pittance, we came to a almost a conclusion with CBS, and we were. It was not much money involved relative to the total value of the contract, 3-year contract for millions of dollars. But we we asked too much and they offered too little, and we over a period of time we got back and forth, and we were actually $50,000 apart on making a deal. And since golf has always been disrespected, really, in the television business up to then, and this was our first deal, I had made the last concession, and I thought the CBS should magnanimously make the last concession on their part and give us a $50,000 difference. So we were at loggerheads, and of course we weren't going to walk away, and they knew we weren't going to walk away. So I went to New York to meet with the executives to finalize the deal, but we were still $50,000 apart. So we met at 21 for lunch, and the fellow that worked for me in the television quarter went down the bank and got a silver dollar. And we walked in to the bar and had a little. I think I had a Diet Coke. I don't remember what they had. And I said, well, I know we're going to make a deal here today, and we're $50,000 apart. But I think that you should. I think that you should make the last concession and give us the $50,000. But in the spirit of our new friendship and our new beginning, I've got a silver dollar here, and I'll flip you for the $50,000 right here at the bar. So they looked at me and smiled and raised their eyebrows, and he said, "Okay, let's do that." So we flipped the coin and made the deal.
Wow, tremendous story. And do you want to share with us actually who won the coin toss?
I believe my recollection is I'd like to believe that we did, and I believe they will acknowledge that.
Oh, tremendous. Mr. Beman, would you mind staying us for another segment? We're going to take a quick break, but we'd love to bring you back and talk about you working with Veritas Golf and the new Cure putter. Does that sound good?
Be delighted to. Thank you.
Okay. We'll be back with Deane Beman right here on Teeing Off with Keith Chartrand on NBC Sports Radio.